I'm hitting record.
Let's mob through it quick.
Okay, Shamble Gamble, we're back for Week 4 recap and Week 5 preview. Mr. OC Mac is going to get us started with a little itinerary. Let's do it.
All right, so first, folks, we're going to start off with our Action Network, basically our picks for the week, all the picks included, spreads, and then our favorite 5 picks. And then we're going to get into our biggest shambles and biggest gambles. Oh, my God. Hernan Gomez is making threes. What?
Is locked into preseason.
OC Max distracted with some preseason NBA action. For the public, we're going to let him know he has $300 on the Pelicans to beat the Bulls for some reason. It's looking good, but we're going to move on. So
yes, we are.
Maybe I should stick to NBA preseason because for my 5 picks of Week 4 NFL, I was 1-4. The only one that I got correct was a money line pick too. It wasn't even a spread. So the Dolphins Thursday Night Football, they started off my losing streak with an injury to Tua, and obviously without Tua, they weren't going to do anything against the Bengals. They lost 27-15. So they not only did they not win the game, they didn't cover their spread as an underdog. And then the losses continued as the Jaguars. They played the Eagles. The Jaguars were 6.5-point underdogs. I thought they would be able to cover that spread. It was a large spread the Eagles are undefeated, but I think the Jaguars are a solid team. So I thought they'd be able to at least keep the game close. And to be honest, they were up 14-0 in the first quarter there. So if I was a live bet in that game, or if I had action on the game, actually, I would have probably hedged at some point while they were up, pretty much because I do think that the Eagles could come back and win that game for sure since the Eagles are a solid opponent. But I didn't actually have action on the game, so I didn't throw on either side. And the next game was the Bills, which was a money line pick for me, and they somehow won the game. That was one of the games on Sunday that I had action on, and it was a live bet that I put in when they were down. I think they were down double digits when I put in the bet, and they were at plus 175. So I saw good value there. I think it was first half, so I just locked in a bet there, and they ended up winning the game. Packers, I had them to cover the spread against the Patriots. It was 9.5. It was a large spread. They couldn't do that. They were lucky to win the game. I might be done with the Packers for some time here. They're not really looking too well. Maybe until they get a little bit healthier, I'll just chill out on the Aaron Rodgers picks there. And then Monday night was an emotional pick with the Rams and 49ers. We had a little rematch of last year's divisional game, of the playoff game, and the Rams looked terrible. The Rams looked really bad, and the Niners defense looked really good. The Niners and Broncos last week, that was the main reason I was shorting the Niners this week, was because of how bad they looked against the Broncos. But their defense is the real deal, man. I think they might be number 1 ranked. Rams offense never got comfortable. They were able to move the chains a bit, but when it came to the red zone, they were closer to throwing picks than they were to throwing touchdowns. It was a bad pick, and I might have to just chill out on the Rams as well. You know, they made me a lot of money last year, but this is a new year. This is a new team. A lot of retired players, a lot of players that are injured or not with the team anymore. This is a completely different team, and I need to remember that. And I just gotta make picks without emotions going forward. So those are my 5.
There you go.
Well, yeah, man, I was with you on the I didn't have the Rams in my top 5 picks, but I was definitely with you on the Rams. The Jags as well. I was with you on the Jags. That was a tough, man. I didn't have it in my 5 picks. Should have kept them out of my regular picks too, but that's how it goes. For me, Action Network, I went 10-6 on my actual picks. My top 5 picks went 3-2. Washington plus 3.5. One day I'm gonna get off this train, but one day, man, I don't know.
At least you didn't have Carolina,
and they're not even a good team. They're not a sexy team. I don't get it.
I just know how much everybody hates them, so I'm like, bro, this is value, but they can't meet the value. So sometimes you keep trying to buy low, and they're just gonna be low the whole season. So one team is gonna be the worst team in the league. It might be Washington. So. That would mess me up for sure a lot. Seahawks plus 4.5. That one was nip and tuck game. Honestly, I think those Seahawks just covered because they got up quick first. So they're pretty much just scoring back and forth the whole game. Tampa Bay plus 1. That one was to end a lot of parlays. That one hurt. And Tennessee plus 3.5. They covered comfortably. Colts looked a little anemic. And then I actually said before it was the Chargers, but I had Vegas as one of my favorite plays. So that one I actually was sweating because I felt like the Broncos were good enough to win. But I was just banking on Vegas desperation, and they pulled through.
Very nice, very nice. Well, your boy's feeling himself. I'm coming off a 10-4-2 week in the Action Network. It's my best week of the season, week 4. So, ain't too many shambles on this side. Nah, but I would say my favorite bet of the week was a Vikings over Saints by 2, and then parlayed with Packers money line. The Vikings one, I had to sweat that one out. That was crazy. They had that game-winning kick in London. Honestly, the Saints had no business being that close to the Vikings, but Kirk Cousins is unreliable, and so I gotta probably stay away, ride the Vikings cautiously for the remainder of the season because you cannot rely on them to do anything. As far as like my main picks of the week, I went 4-2. So I had Minnesota -3 versus New Orleans. I actually teased that down to -2. I also had Denver plus 2.5 against Vegas. That one I missed, unfortunately. I had Steelers -3.5 versus the Jets. I also missed that one. And then I had Dallas -3.5 versus Commanders, hit on that. Chargers -5.5 versus Houston, hit on that. And Tennessee plus 3.5 versus Indy. I don't know how Tennessee was an underdog, but that was one of my favorite calls of the week. Minnesota was my lock of the week, and then Tennessee was like my junior lock of the week. Biggest shambles, though, Denver plus 2.5 against Vegas. I really needed Denver to come through in order to hit some parlays. Unfortunately, they lost Javonte Williams and had a couple of other strugglings and injuries. So I'm going to ride them one more time, but if they mess up against Indy on Thursday night, I'm gonna have to quit the Broncos. And then my other shamble of the week was Tampa Bay losing to Kansas City. I chose Kansas City on Action Network. Started watching the game live. They started talking about the hurricane, the emotions. They were singing the national anthem. Brady looked like he shed a tear. I thought Brady was gonna go God mode. Lo and behold, that boy Patty Mahomes, he's a bad man. So
yeah, for real.
Tampa Bay disappointed me, but hopefully they bounce back against Atlanta this week. But yeah, I ended up live betting Tampa Bay, even though I chose Kansas City with my brain. I chose Tampa Bay with my heart and lost that one. So, yeah, overall I was green this week, though. But we're going to keep it moving to week 5. Hopefully the good momentum continues.
Facts. We're going to get it back. All right, yeah. So for the I know we started talking about shambles real quick. We hit some good ones. We hit some good ones for sure. I would say my biggest shambles were I had 2 parlays that basically 4-teamers that came down to Bucks, dusted. Had 2 parlays, one of them a 5-teamer, one of them a 4-teamer that came down to Rams, dusted. And these were like the games, just the other team just started off right away scoring. So it's like I couldn't even really get a good like plus 150, 200 hedge or something like that. So you're kind of just watching your money burn pretty much the whole time. And then I had I think it was an 18 parlay, $25 to win $4K. And I wasn't even paying attention because I was like, that's already burnt money. It's not happening. So the games are going. I'm like, oh, that one's hitting, that one's hitting, that one's hitting. And I'm like, what's holding it up? The fucking Washington Commanders. So just off that, I could never, if I ever touch them again, I need you to fly over here and slap the goddamn hell out of me, bro. I'm never going to touch them again. That one, it doesn't even hurt because I'm numb to it. I don't even know what happened. So
they're going to pull through next week. Watch.
I know. That's the thing right now. That's why I can't touch him, bro. I'm already ready to throw 1,000 on him, bro. I think they're going to win the Super Bowl, bro.
Yeah. That's how it goes usually, right?
Yep.
I wouldn't put it past you to put 1,000 on them. 4 digits on the Commanders.
Man, I don't hate myself that much. I've been through enough. Crazy.
Yeah, I don't think anybody else here, our shambles, can touch your shambles for week 4. I guess fortunately for us, but see, it's tough because you had a $25 bet. So like it's like, okay, you lost $25, whatever. But no, man, you were one pick away from these, and that's like it's not even a pick that you should have made. You know, it's not like
the worst part, bro.
It's not like the Bills lost like, as a favorite or something. No, you lost on the Washington Commanders. You know what I'm saying? We just have to have a little therapy session here, man.
Issues, bro. Where's the least?
I guess it was a divisional game, and those are always a little bit weird, but it happens, man. We'll move on. So I'll go on to my shamble, which doesn't hurt as bad. It's just the Dolphins. It was the Dolphins on Thursday night. I thought they would. I just didn't like the way that the Bengals looked the first few weeks, and the Dolphins were undefeated. They were looking great, and they were the underdog. So I figured, okay, it's Thursday night. Yeah, they were coming off a short rest period, and they played hard defense, this and that, whatever. The Sunday night before, but I had faith in the Dolphins, and they never were really able to get a rhythm. Maybe partly due to fatigue, but also obviously like the two-way injury. So those always kind of hurt when a bet that you make doesn't kind of even have a chance to pan out the way you had predicted it to. There's no opportunity there, so that one hurt. And then the rest of them I didn't really have too much action on it. Bills, I had some action. That one won, and then Rams, I had some action, and that did not win. But like I explained earlier, that shamble was more of an emotional shamble. So I'll need to get my act together when it comes to the Rams going forward.
Damn, Rams are scaring me, man. All right, damn. So we had some shambles, we had some wins, so that's fire. Let's get into our into this week 5 bets or week 5 favorite plays, starting with Thursday night football. I don't have the itinerary in front of me or the not.
I got it right here.
I bet. Take it away. We got Colts and Broncos.
Yes, sir. We got Denver. Now, you guys might have different spreads, but I'm going off Action Network. So it's Denver minus 3.5. Indy at Denver for Thursday night football. I'm going with Denver minus 3.5 for this one. They I think Russell Wilson still got a little bit of that classic, that vintage, dangerous in him. And so I think he's going to be able to dig deep and pull a win out over a pretty weak Indy team. The talent is just lopsided. Obviously, Nathaniel Hackett is a basket case, but I think Denver should be able to pull this out.
For me, I'm seeing this low key. If it was a Sunday game, I'd see it as a stay away. Obviously, I'm gonna bet on it because it's a Thursday game, but very small amount probably. I'm leaning the Colts. I just feel like these are two teams that are getting shat on. I do think the Colts have played some. They've had some bad. If you look at the Texans' loss, they should have won that one. Obviously, they got manhandled by the Jags, but I think the Jags are a lot better than people are giving them credit for, even with that bad loss against the Eagles. Beat the Chiefs. They mustered up whatever they had, even though the Chiefs made mistakes. Somebody has to take the game from them. And then last game, they had a chance to win that game. They did have some injuries. I'm curious to see how Jonathan Taylor, how healthy he is, because if he's not healthy, if he doesn't play, then I'm not going to touch him at all. But I'd rather take the Colts. I feel like they have a winning formula against that Broncos defense. Broncos defense is susceptible to the run, and Colts are still good at running the ball, even though they're not close to what they were last year. So I just feel like the 3 field goal game, the Broncos have been winning close games. They haven't been performing the way they're supposed to. They lost Javonte, which I think is their best offensive player. So, and then Melvin Gordon, fumbling problem. Defense regressed a little bit last week. Kind of just see these teams as even. I'll take the hook.
Yeah, I mean, if this wasn't a primetime game like you mentioned, then I wouldn't be betting on the Broncos. But the fact that it is a primetime game, it's in Denver, Russell Wilson getting shat on like left and right. He knows the bright lights are on, and he knows everybody's going to be tuning in. And he's playing against an opponent which is a very beatable opponent. So I definitely won't take the 3.5 point spread for the Broncos, but I'll take money line action, or maybe even buy a point and tease them down to 2.5 points, simply because of kind of what's at stake here in this game. You know, it's the Broncos haven't looked good, and I'm not really happy about the Javonte Williams injury. Like you said, I don't really know where their offense is going to come from. But this is more so a bet on the Broncos season, more so than just one game. So I think if they pull this game out, prime time, Thursday night at home, then I don't know if I'll ever be able to bet on the Broncos again going forward, assuming they have health. So this is just kind of like, a do or die for them, and I'll go with them. I'll ride with them.
Facts. I like that one. This is definitely a season. This is a do or die for sure.
Low key, I agree with that. That's what makes
it
catch. You don't know. Russ he can man up, and fourth quarter, who am I going to bet on? Matt Ryan or Russ? I take Russ. So that's a good point.
Every day at home too. Yep. Next up, we got New York Giants at Green Bay. Green Bay's favored by 7.5. So I think based off of the embarrassing performance against the Patriots, although I think America is coming around to the idea that the Patriots are decent, they're not going to just be walked over on a week-by-week basis. Bill Belichick's got the defense humming, and you can pretty much insert any quarterback in the Bill Belichick institution, and they're gonna figure it out. But with that being said, I think Green Bay, although they got a W on paper, that was technically a loss last week, and so I think they're gonna bounce back strong against the Giants, get the offense together, and cover this 7.5 point spread.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I'll take the Giants spread here just because the spread's so large. And last week I got burned by taking the Packers spread, which was also large against the team that I thought they should cover. And Giants, I think, are a better team than the Patriots. Giants, their defense is not terrible. They have a decent defense. It's not the best in the league. It's not the worst, but it's like right there in the middle. Saquon. I have no reason to believe that the Giants will just get blown out here. I'm definitely not going to take a money line or anything like that. They're plus 300 money line. I won't get any action there, but I definitely do think they'll cover that 8 point spread.
Yeah, the Giants are 3-1.
Say what?
Giants are 3-1.
Giants are 3-1.
And I think it's time. I think they're going to be a bad 3-2 after this week. I'm leaning the Pack show here. I agree with everything SOJAD said in that, it's a big spread, especially for what we've seen last week and the week before. But I think the fact that Vegas is still giving them so much respect tells me that they still have a lot of hopes for this team, especially this week. And I think they match up well with them. I think they're going to be able to run the ball down their throat. We saw the Bears be able to run on them. We saw Cowboys be able to run on them. And they don't have Aaron Rodgers at quarterback. Giants have won a lot of close games against some bad teams. This is the first real quality team they're going to face, and it's in London. London games for the last, I think, 3 or 4 years, the favorite is 10-0-1 against the spread. The 0-1, the one coming against the Vikings last week. So because they opened at 3. So I'm going to roll with the Pack show. I think they're going to figure it out. Aaron Rodgers in that presser after the game said, "We know this. The way we're winning is not sustainable." And I think I'm just trusting that they're going to be able to put up enough points. They still put up points on that Pats defense. Can the Giants put up 24 on the Pack? I don't think so, honestly. So I think it's going to look more like the Bears. And also Daniel Jones is hurt. Tyrod Taylor's hurt. And the way the Giants have been winning is they run with Saquon. They're almost using Daniel Jones like Jalen Hurts. They run with Saquon and they do fake play action bootlegs and just let Daniel Jones run. The last game they won against the Bears, he scored 2 rushing touchdowns. So they're just using his athleticism. That sprained ankle is still sprained. I think that takes out a large part of their offense. I'm gonna go with the Pack in a bounce back spot.
I like it.
Big ass spread.
I thought they were in Lambeau. I didn't know they were in London. That kind of makes me worry, but I'm
I know, yeah. The London thing is that's a big spread.
So next up, we got Detroit plus 3. Detroit's at New England. I think that New England after that. So what? This is the battle of the 1-3 teams. I think New England's going to be overhyped after their performance in Green Bay, and Detroit's going to be a little underhyped. And so after losing to Seattle, so I'm going to have to go with Detroit +3 with this one.
Yeah, give me the money line on this, man. I think from the bad teams, Detroit is the best of them, man. They can score with anybody.
Facts.
You know, I've soft spot for Jared Goff, as I've said many times. They got an injury in Andre Swift, but backup Jamal Williams last week, he showed that he can get the job done. I think he had 2 touchdowns. Maybe, yeah, he had, I think, 2 touchdowns. He's on my fantasy team above 25 points. I'll take Lions money line here. You know, the over-under is at 45.5. So I might even smash that over. I know that's not really a good strategy to do, but the Lions have been 4-0 in overs this year, and all of them have been like extremely high-scoring games. Last week, the Lions had 45 points on their own. Yeah, that was against the Seattle Seahawks defense, and the Patriots are a little bit different, but I'll very comfortably take the Lions here.
I feel like I do agree that Lions might be underhyped, maybe by like the Sharps, but I think the public is still going to think the Pats are trash and the Lions are the fan favorites. I don't know. I think the spread is low-key perfectly priced. I think these two teams are even. They both have different strengths and weaknesses. That Lions offensive line is really, really top-notch. They're going to be able to move the Patriots pile. At the same time, the Patriots back end, the secondary is going to be able to shut down whatever Lions receivers they have. So I think it's going to come down to the trenches. Whoever wins in the trenches is going to win the game. I do trust Bill, the coach, over Dan Campbell, even though I love that dude. I run through a wall for him, and I'm not even on the team. But I feel like the Pats have been so close the last 2 games. They were close. They played Miami well, too. Even though the score was 21-7, they played Miami really well. They had 1 breakaway touchdown at the 4th quarter that sealed the game. The last 2 weeks, the Ravens, they could have won that game. They could have won last game with their 3rd-string quarterback. Again, another game where you're going to have to check the injury report. If they get Brian Hoyer back, I think they can manage to make do. If they're dealing with, I don't even know the name of the dude, but the 3rd-string quarterback, I don't think he can put up – I just am very skeptical if he could put up like 27 points. And Lions might be able to put up 27. So that would be my defining edge. Right now, I'd give it to the Pats. I'll take the Pats, -3.
Okay.
And Bill can outsmart Jared Goff and force him to a couple turnovers. And hopefully, if you're a Pats fan, get a W.
All right. Next up, we got Pittsburgh at Buffalo. Pittsburgh is a 14-point underdog. Biggest spread of the season.
Crazy.
You know, for me, this number is just too big to where like I have to try to see if the underdog can cover it. It's just way too big. I'm going to take Pittsburgh +14 just because, you know, Bills have struggled. They're 2-2 now, right? They're 3-2 now. I'm sorry, no, they're 2-2. I'm tripping. So, you know, Bills aren't bulletproof, and 14-point spread it's a pretty big hill to climb. So I'm just going to take Pittsburgh.
I think it's going to be like a crazy blowout. I'll take the Bills to cover the 14. It is a lot of points, but I think the Steelers are going to be bringing in their rookie quarterback finally, Kenny Pickett. So we'll see how he does against a good Bills defense. I'll definitely wait until the quarterback proves me wrong. I mean, he's second in line right now to Mitchell Trubisky. So I don't know what that tells me about him as a quarterback. I know sometimes it does take time for these rookies to come in and actually get some playing time on the field, but he's not being put in a position to succeed going against this Bills defense. And on the other end is Josh Allen, who's gonna be just throwing touchdowns down your throat. So give me the Bills right here.
I agree with that sentiment. To be honest, I think Bills are gonna smash him. I understand what Blake is saying. I really would rarely touch a spread over 10. But I think the Bills just have what teams have been doing is trying to like keep them in between the hash lines and not let them throw over their heads. The Bills don't really have a secondary that can hold them. And even if the Bills could win this thing like 27-7, like they really could. Kenny Pickett is I think he's I don't know if he's an upgrade from Mitch Trubisky, but he's more variance. So he could throw 3 picks in a game. He could also throw 3 touchdowns. Mitch, you know exactly where he's going to be. And I don't really want to trust the Steelers' rookie quarterback against this Bills defense, even with a couple people missing. I think they're going to put some heat on him. They're going to break down that offensive line and put him in some bad spots where he tosses up some balls. So I think Bill smash. I can see him putting up like 37 points on him.
Hey, I like what I hear. Next up, we got Miami Dolphins at New York Jets. New York Jets are 3.5-point underdogs. I think that I'm gonna have to trust Teddy Bridgewater. I think the Dolphins are kind of gonna come together after the Tua industry and all the media scrutiny, focus up and just kind of get this 3.5-point win. You know, they were solid with Tua. I think they still got a bunch of their pieces. I think Teddy Bridgewater is a great piece to just come step in and kind of continue the momentum that they had despite the loss against Cincinnati. And so I'm gonna take the Dolphins 3.5-point favorites.
Love that. You know me. Sometimes when we're doing these Tuesday or Wednesday shows, I be wavering in between. I love Miami in the spot. I don't know what here. Miami's off extra rest. They got a better roster. They got a better coach. Teddy Two Gloves actually has the best against the spread record, especially on the road. He has an amazing against. He's not a drop off from Tua, in my opinion. Honestly, he's like maybe half a point like drop off. I think he's almost the same quarterback. Just Tua can do more things and is more accurate. Not even more accurate, more higher IQ maybe. But and the Jets defense, I think, is a bad matchup. They don't have guys that can contain Tyreek or contain Waddle. I already took this at 2.5 when it opened. It's at 3.5. If you want this, grab it now. I feel like teams also usually have a letdown when they face a physical Steelers team. Jets are a young team that's coming off a really good win. They're going to be really hyped. Zach Wilson left some plays on the field that if he was playing a quality defense like the Dolphins, they would have snatched some picks from him. And I think the Dolphins are going to take advantage. I can see them winning by like 10-14.
Yeah, this spread being this low is basically just Vegas saying the Dolphins' success was all because of Tua. Where I disagree, man. I think Waddle was getting a lot of space. I think Tyreek was getting a lot of space, giving the quarterback Tua a lot of openings to throw him. And Tua, you know, from the games that I was watching, half the time he was underthrowing. Teddy has an arm. His arm can throw as far as Tyreek. So I don't think it's that big of a drop off for this team specifically, because of how their receivers are kind of built. I think Teddy, I don't know, he might be just as good, if not a better, quarterback for this team. So I don't understand the spread at all. I know the game is in New York, but let's see. Let's ride with Miami right here. Let's see if Vegas got this one wrong, in the sense that they put too much value in Tua, and I think they did. So let's see what happens.
The first one we all agree on, huh?
Damn.
We all got Miami. That might be a bad sign.
That might be an omen right there. They do the ESPN where everybody picks the same. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
So next up, we got Tampa Bay. So actually, Atlanta's going to be at Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay's favored by 8.5. Tampa Bay's got to get right after that embarrassing loss against Kansas City. But 8.5 is a lot, and Atlanta's undefeated against the spread this season. So I might stay away from this one. I might live bet it. I might live bet this one. Wait for Tampa Bay to get down to like 5-point favorites, 4-point favorites, and then I'll take it. But I don't feel comfortable at the 8.5. Although I know Tampa Bay is going to win the game.
Yeah, 8.5 is a lot, man. I wish it wasn't 8.5. But all I gotta say about this game is Tom Brady's going through a divorce, and he's gonna have to let up somewhere. So I'll ride with my dog, man. I'll ride with him. give me
thanks.
Tampa Bay action.
Yeah, I'm going the same way. I'm riding with the soon-to-be divorcee. You know what I'm saying? I feel like, honestly, I think it's going to be an interesting test because the game could go two ways. If the Falcons can run the ball on them, they're going to cover the spread. That sounds obvious, and then if the Bucs defense shows up, if we get the Bucs defense we've seen the first 3 weeks, then they'll cover the spread because the Falcons win one way. They just run the ball. They throw it 15, 20 times. If you force them to throw it, you're going to get a bunch of picks. You're going to get a bunch of mishaps. So I would definitely side with the Bucks here if I had to choose a side. I do love them winning. They're back at home. You're telling me they're going to lose 3 straight at home or not come ready to play for 3 straight games? I don't see it. I think that last game was embarrassing. They got embarrassed. I expect Tom Brady to back it up. He's great off a loss with the Bucks against the spread. So I'm gonna ride with the Bucks.
I ain't even 3 straight at home. Yeah, ain't no way. Ain't no way.
One
Put
of those.
that shit on.
Put that shit
Put
on.
that shit on.
Put that shit on. That's what the police was telling AB. Put that shit on.
Jesus, streaking AB.
AB, man, pray for that dude.
All right, we got New Orleans -6 facing Seattle. So Seattle's actually going to come to New Orleans, and New Orleans 6-point favorites. Honestly, I think New Orleans is pretty weak, and Seattle is kind of like a baby Lions where their offense is competent. They can score with the best of them. So off the gut, I'm just going to go Seattle +6 in this one.
I'm gonna lean the same way. I feel like there's something sketch because the line did move very originally to it opened up at I think 4 and it moved to Saints. And I get that the Saints have the capability of being a good team because they have certain players, defensive players, offensive players, but it's just something not right with the team right now. I don't know what it is. If Andy Dalton plays, I actually feel better about the Saints than Jameis. So I'm gonna go with the Seahawks here. 6. I think is that 6 right now?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll take the 6. That's just a good key number. I'll take the 6. I know that Geno Smith is going to fall off eventually. Hopefully it's not this week, but they should be able to match up well with them on offense. And then if they can contain – also, if Kamara hasn't looked right, if what's his name? Who's our guy? MT, Michael Thomas. Suit up, then I think I'll definitely lean the Seahawks. But it's going to be an interesting game. And also teams usually face a lag. Remember that for the Vikings too. Teams usually face a lag when you're flying from London back home. So, like, you're over there for another day. You come home. You're jet lagged for a couple of days. It takes you a couple of days to get right. Sometimes that affects players in the games. So, yeah.
Those are all good points, man, especially that last jet lag point. They might not be right. And 5.5 points is just a lot of points to give a team that's bad, Like, the Saints are not good now and the Seahawks are not good right now. But to say one will beat the other by 5.5 or 6 points is just too many points for me. So I'll go ahead and take the Seahawks here, and hopefully Alvin Kamara is another 5 a.m. scratch, Hopefully that happens.
Hey, real talk. What was that, man?
Vegas on some bullshit.
Crazy.
All right, next up, we got Houston at Jacksonville. Jacksonville is 7-point favorites. I like Jacksonville covering the spread, although they're not, they're not a bona fide playoff team, so it's hard to trust them, but I like them responding to the Philly loss last week, so I'm going to go with Jacksonville -7.
And we really have some large spreads here this week, but I'm going to agree with you. I'm going to take the Jags to cover the spread here. I might take them at 6.5. I think they're a solid team, man, and Vegas agrees with us because they went from +600 to win the division to now they're the favorites to win the division after week 4. So things are looking good in Jacksonville, man. Give me all the Jacksonville action. Get the value while you can.
Nice.
Ooh, as a week 2 Jacksonville Jaguars division winner better. I love hearing that, but I don't know. I just feel like the Texans, they're fighters. They got a lot of fight in them. This is a division rival that they're familiar with, even though the Jacksonville Jaguars are much improved. I think that if this wasn't a division rival, I'd feel more comfortable with the 7, but 7 is still a lot. Yeah, the Packers are getting 8 against the Giants, and I think I don't want to say the Texans are as good as the Giants, but I do think the Packers are better than the Jags. Ooh, it's just a big spread. It's a very big spread. I'm going to take the Texans to get a couple plays. They still look good against the Chargers, even though they almost came back and covered. Even though the Chargers were up for most of that game. I kind of see this game going similarly. Jacksonville comes out to a big lead, and then Texans chip away because they can run the ball. They still got a couple weapons on the outside, and Davis Mills is a gamer. So, yeah, I kind of think they're going to hold tight, keep it close. Eventually they'll lose, but yeah, I don't want to buy too much on the Jag. I'm gonna sell a little bit of the Jags, even though I believe in them long term, just in this spot.
I can see it going both ways for sure. Next up, we got Tennessee at Washington. Tennessee's favored by 2.5 against the Commanders. I'm gonna keep riding Tennessee. Honestly, I'm a low-key Tennessee fanboy. I think they're an AFC dark horse.
For sure.
There's not really much I can say as to why, except for pointing to their past history of the over the last few years. So yeah, I got to go with Tennessee minus 2.5.
Yeah, I'll take the Titans here too, man. At the -2.5. I think Commanders are a really bad team. Titans do have a few different ways to score. I think 2.5 should be no problem for the Titans to be able to cover, man. Derrick Henry was looking good last week, finally. He was actually breaking through some tackles. He was doing well. He's looking a little healthier, so maybe we can get some value on the Titans while Derrick Henry is starting to get right, you know?
Price just went up.
Price went up.
Yesterday's price.
It's not today's price.
Hey, man, I want to do it. I want to do it so bad. I just can't do it. I just can't do it. Eventually, Washington's going to hit one of these weeks, and I know I'm going to be on the opposite side of it. But I know the Titans have a lot of issues. I still got to take the Titans on the road. I usually like my Grable better in the underdog spot, to be honest. But yeah, I'm gonna take the Titans. They got like when you have bad teams, I usually try my strategies to look for, is there one unit that can dominate? Like the Cowboys, I should have applied that logic last week to the Cowboys because they have a D line that can dominate. So I think the Titans run game is something that the Commanders can't stop. They can't stop on the back end. Carson Wentz is so high variable that he could easily win this game. Easily. They have really good weapons on the outside. They have really good running backs. They have a battle line, but they have Carson Wentz. If he can just get the guys the ball, they can definitely win this. So I wouldn't go too hard on it, but yeah, I'll take the Titans. They're a better team than Washington, and right now Vegas is saying they're even teams with a 3-point spread. Oh, no, they're saying they're 3 points better. Yeah, I'd say that too. I agree with that too.
Yeah. We're agreeing a lot this week, and I don't know if you guys saw, but Vegas lost money last week, so you know they're about to come for a vengeance week 5.
This is the week to bet the Commanders, bro.
It's scary hours, bro. It's scary hours.
I'm not going to put too much on Titans game, to be honest.
Yeah. Next up, we got Chicago at Minnesota, divisional rivalry. We got Minnesota -7. Based off of what I just said about Vegas losing money week 4 and how they're going to come for a vengeance week 5, it's scary hours. I didn't like what I saw from Minnesota about how they barely sweat that win out against Saints. And so I'm going to take Chicago +7 at Minnesota. I don't know why, but I feel like this is one of those traps that Vegas is setting up.
Yeah, I mean, the 7 points is a lot again. Man, this might be a good week to do a teaser of the underdogs and 7, 8 points, get yourself a 15, 16 point spread. But individually, man, I'm having a tough time choosing these spreads. Like Vegas is messing with my head right now. But having said that, we have about 10 seconds left on this